What if I told you the greatest version of yourself is locked behind laws you never agreed to follow? Of laws that tell you to stay quiet, to fit in, to wait your turn, to never be too bold, too fast, too much. You've been conditioned your whole life to obey these invisible rules. Rules written by fear, comfort, judgment, and limitation. But here's the truth. Every rule that keeps you small must be broken. You weren't born to live a safe, quiet, predictable life. You were born to lead, to build, to disrupt. You were born to leave a mark that can't be erased. But first, you must make a decision to become a lawbreaker. This isn't about chaos. It's about clarity. It's about rising above the lies that say you need permission to live loudly. In this video, I'm going to show you how to break the laws that have been holding you back. The law of fear, the law of silence, the law of normalcy, the law of instant results, the law of playing small. And by the end, you'll no longer seek validation. You'll no longer wait for the perfect moment. You'll walk in your truth, speak your vision, and take up the space you were born to own. This is your wake-up call. This is your permission slip. This is the moment you stop living by their rules and start building by your own. Let's begin. It's time to make yourself a lawbreaker. Break the laws that were never meant to empower you. From the moment you opened your eyes to this world, rules were placed around you. Spoken and unspoken, direct and disguised. Rules about how to act, what to say, how far to reach, and when to stop. They told you to be polite, to sit still, to follow the path that everyone else walks. But here's the truth most people never tell you. Not all rules are meant to be followed. Some laws weren't made for your empowerment. They were made for your containment. They were designed to keep you in line, keep you safe, keep you quiet. But safe doesn't mean free. And silence doesn't mean peace. We're not talking about legal laws. We're talking about the invisible laws of life that condition you to believe you're small, that you shouldn't want more, that you should settle. These are the laws of limitation. And they don't protect you. They control you. Break them. Break the law that says your dreams are unrealistic. Break the law that says your voice doesn't matter. Break the law that says success is only for those kinds of people. Because every time you obey a law that suppresses your greatness, you give away your power. You sacrifice your purpose for permission. And here's the harsh reality. The life you want will never be built by following rules meant for someone else's comfort. It's time to become a lawbreaker, not a criminal, but a creator. A creator of your own destiny. A writer of your own laws. A leader who dares to say, I don't accept this script. I'm writing a new one. You don't have to fit into a mold that was never designed for you. You don't have to accept just enough when you know you were born for more. You don't have to keep quiet when everything in your soul is screaming for change. The world changes not when we comply, but when we challenge. So make yourself a lawbreaker. Break the patterns you were handed. Break the limits you were taught. Break the identity they forced on you. Because real freedom is never given, it's claimed. And it starts the moment you realize this one truth. You were never meant to live in a cage of expectations. You were meant to fly beyond them. The law of playing small, break it immediately. There's a law that doesn't appear in any textbook, but it's one that nearly everyone has been taught to obey. The law of playing small. It's the rule that says, don't take up too much space. Don't shine too brightly. Don't dream too loudly. Stay in line, stay safe, stay small. And most people do, not because they lack ambition, but because they've been convinced that ambition is dangerous, that success will make others uncomfortable, that standing tall will make them a target, that rising too high will only lead to a painful fall. So they shrink, they silence their dreams, they lower their standards, they pretend to be less than they are just to avoid the discomfort of visibility. Right, but let me tell you something. Playing small doesn't serve the world. It only starves your soul. You were not born to blend in. You were born to lead, to create, to elevate. The world doesn't benefit from your silence, your hesitation, your watered down brilliance. It benefits from your full expression. That's why you must break the law of playing small immediately. Because every time you tell yourself, I'm not ready, every time you hide your talent, every time you dim your light for the comfort of others, you bury a part of your purpose. You weren't given your vision by accident. That fire inside of you, that's not random. That's your calling. And the moment you stop obeying the law that says don't be too much, you'll start becoming the version of you that you've always known was waiting beneath the surface. Understand this? Small thinking leads to small results. And shrinking yourself doesn't make you humble, it makes you invisible. So if they call you too intense, wear like a crown. If they say you're too ambitious, smile and keep building. If they think you've changed, good. You're not meant to stay the same. Break that law. Step fully into your power. Own your voice. Take up space. Be bold enough to want more. And brave enough to go get it. Because the truth is, the world isn't suffering from people being too big. It's suffering from people playing too small. So make yourself a lawbreaker. Refuse to follow the path of quiet desperation. Refuse to dim your light to protect other people's insecurities. Refuse to fit into a world that was never built to hold your greatness. This is your time. This is your rise. This is your moment to break free and become everything they said you couldn't be. Playing small ends now. Challenge the law of waiting for permission. There's a hidden rule running people's lives, one so subtle and so deeply ingrained that most don't even recognize it. It's the law of waiting for permission. From a young age, we are conditioned to raise our hands, to speak, ask before we act, and seek approval before we move. And while discipline and order serve a place in childhood, the danger comes when we grow up and continue to live like we still need someone's yes to pursue our destiny. Let me tell you the truth you may have never heard out loud. You do not need permission to be great. You don't need your family's approval to follow your dream. You don't need society's validation to choose a different path. You don't need to wait for the right time, the perfect conditions, or someone to finally tell you, go ahead. Because if you're waiting for the world to give you permission, you'll be waiting forever. The system wasn't built to approve your evolution. It was built to reward obedience. But greatness has never come from the obedient. It comes from the bold. The ones who look around, realize no one is coming to hand them a key and decide to kick the door down themselves. You weren't born to ask for a seat at the table. You were born to build your own table, to create your own stage, to walk into rooms like you belong, because you do. Permission is the prison of the powerless. And today is the day you break out. Stop waiting for someone to tell you that you're smart enough, talented enough. Stop waiting for them to recognize your potential before you act on it. Stop letting other people's silence dictate the pace of your purpose. You don't need permission to start. You need a decision. Decide to speak. Even if your voice shakes, decide to move. Even if the path isn't clear, decide to show up, even when no one is clapping yet. Because those who wait rarely begin, and those who begin, they're the ones who create a future. This is your life, your dream, your calling. Why are you waiting for someone else to validate what was placed in your soul? The people you admire, the creators, the disruptors, the game changers, none of them were waiting. They saw the same wars, heard the same doubts, faced the same fears, and they moved anyway. That's what separates the spectators from the legends. So stop asking, can I? And start declaring, I will. Break the law of waiting for permission and watch the world respond to your boldness. Because once you move like you belong, they have no choice but to see you. Refuse to follow the law of fear. Fear has a rule book and you've been taught to follow it since day one. Don't try too hard or you'll be disappointed. Don't stand out too much or you'll be judged. Don't love too deeply or you'll get hurt. Don't aim too high or you'll fall. These are the laws of fear. They dress up as wisdom, as protection, as caution, but deep down they are designed to cage you. It's the truth. Fear isn't the enemy, it's the excuse. Fear whispers that it's safer not to try, that it's better to settle, that it's smarter to stay in your comfort zone. But what fear doesn't tell you is that everything you want, every single thing is on the other side of it. The life you dream of, the person you're meant to become, you'll only meet them when you stop letting fear be your compass. Most people follow fear like it's a law they can't escape. But you are not most people. You're not here to survive. You're here to rise. So break the law of fear. Refuse to let it govern your decisions. Refuse to let it steal your voice, your vision, your victory. Fear's loud, yes, but it's not truthful. Fear said you wouldn't make it, but you're still here. Fear said you'd break, but you're still standing. Fear said don't try, but you still dream. That means something. That means you're stronger than fear. You've already proven it, now it's time to own it. Understand this, the strongest people aren't the ones who feel no fear. They're the ones who feel it and move forward anyway. They speak while trembling, they step while uncertain, they act while anxious, because they've realized the truth. Fear only grows when you feed it with inaction. You must train yourself to rebel against fear. Not recklessly, but relentlessly. With purpose, with courage, with fire. Start choosing the path that scares you. Because that's usually the one that will change you. Apply for the job you think you're not qualified for. Start the business even if you don't have it all figured out. Say what needs to be said even if your voice shakes. Walk away from what's draining you even if the future feels uncertain. Fear thrives in stillness, but it dies in motion. You weren't created to live in fear. You were created to conquer it. So make yourself a lawbreaker. Break the cycle of hesitation. Break the habit of second guessing. Break the addiction to comfort. Every time you defy fear, you reclaim a piece of your power. And when you've broken enough fear-based laws, you look around and realize you're not the same person anymore. You're bolder, braver, stronger. You're finally living. So the next time fear tells you to stop, run straight through it. Because your future is waiting on the other side. Break the law of normalcy. You weren't born to be average. There is an unspoken law that society forces upon you from the day you're born. Be normal. Fit in. Blend. Don't rock the boat. Don't stand out. Don't be too much of anything. It's the law of normalcy. And it's one of the most dangerous laws of all. Why? Because normal is a trap. It convinces powerful people to play powerless roles. It convinces unique souls to wear masks. It convinces visionaries to hide their dreams and walk in line with the crowd. But here's the thing about normal. It was never meant for people like you. Normal is safe. Normal is comfortable. But nothing extraordinary was ever born from comfort. Look around at the people who changed the world, those who dare to live out loud. They were anything but normal. They were rebels of routine, outlaws of ordinary. They had the courage to be misunderstood, laughed at, doubted, and rejected. And yet they kept moving. Why? Because they weren't living for approval, they were living for impact. So if you feel different, if you don't fit in, if the world has told you to tone it down or shrink yourself, congratulations. That's your sign that you were never meant to follow their law. Break the law of normalcy. Refuse to wear labels that don't belong to you. Refuse to live in boxes built by other people's expectations. Refuse to stay average just to make others feel comfortable. They may not understand your intensity. They may not support your ambition. They may call you weird, too much, too bold, or too fast. Let them talk. Because normal is crowded. But destiny, that path is walked by the few who choose to stand alone rather than blend into the crowd. Don't waste your life trying to fit into a system that was never designed to elevate you. Don't trade your authenticity for acceptance. Don't mute your fire to please people who were never going to support you anyway. Your difference is your gift. Your uniqueness is your weapon. Of your refusal to be normal, that's your power. So go ahead, Dream bigger than they say is reasonable. Speak louder than they say is polite. Move faster than they say is possible. You weren't created to live a recycled life. You were created to be original. And that means breaking every invisible rule that says, stay quiet, stay safe, stay the same. So make yourself a lawbreaker. Live louder, risk bolder, shine brighter. Because normal may be easy, but you were built for greatness. And greatness never comes from those who obey the law of average, break the law of instant gratification and greatness. We live in a world that worships speed. Quick results, fast money, instant fame, overnight success. There's a silent law society forces on us, the law of instant gratification. It says if you don't see results fast, you're failing. If your dream doesn't blow up overnight, it must not be real. If it takes too long, maybe you're not good enough. But this law is a lie. And if you follow it, it will sabotage everything you're trying to build. The truth is, anything meaningful takes time. The strongest trees take years to root. The most beautiful masterpieces are painted in layers. Legends are not born in a moment. They are forged in seasons of delay, discipline, and persistence. But the law of instant gratification tells you to give up if it doesn't happen fast. It tricks you into chasing validation instead of vision. It makes you jump from one thing to another, looking for quick wins instead of lasting impact. Wait, that law. Greatness does not rush, it rises. If you want to be exceptional, you must become patient with the process. You must be willing to show up daily, especially when no one's watching. You must keep building, even when the applause is silent. You must learn to delay gratification, not because you enjoy the wait, but because you understand the weight of your purpose. The most dangerous mindset in today's world is this. If it doesn't happen fast, it's not working. No, if it doesn't happen fast, it's probably real. Real transformation takes time. Real purpose demands sacrifice. And real success, it is earned, not handed out. So don't be seduced by shortcuts. Don't scroll through highlight reels and compare them to your hard days. Don't quit just because it hasn't happened yet. Make yourself a lawbreaker. Break the addiction to speed. Break the craving for quick validation. Break the need for immediate results. Instead, fall in love with the process. Love the grind, love the growth, love the quiet moments where nothing seems to be moving, because those are the moments when your foundation is being formed. When you stop chasing fast, you start building forever. And let me remind you of something powerful. Every champion you admire once walked through a season of obscurity. Every empire you respect was once just a blueprint on paper. Every voice that moves the world once echoed into empty rooms. But they didn't stop. They stayed. They worked. They endured. And so will you. Break the law of instant gratification and watch how your consistency begins to compound. Because when others quit at mile 1, you'll be crossing the finish line unstoppable. Break the law of silence. Speak your truth even if your voice trembles. There's another unspoken law that has kept too many people small, hidden, and unheard. It's the law of silence. The idea that your truth is too much, your voice is too loud, and your story doesn't matter. This law says, stay quiet, don't cause waves, don't speak unless you're certain. Don't tell your story unless it's perfect. But this law was never made to protect you. It was made to control you. It teaches people, especially the bold, the honest, the real, to hold back. It teaches women not to be too outspoken. It teaches dreamers not to disrupt the room. It teaches the hurting to suffer silently. But here's the reality. Silence isn't strength, it's surrender. Your voice is not a threat, it's a tool. And if you don't use it, you give others the power to define your life for you. Your story deserves to be heard. Your thoughts deserve to be shared. Your perspective matters, even if it shakes the room. Especially if it shakes the room, because silence will never set you free, but truth will. Some people stay silent out of fear of judgment. Some stay silent because they think they're not qualified. Some stay silent because they've been told their words don't carry weight. But let me tell you something. The world doesn't need more noise. It needs more truth. And your truth, it can heal, inspire, challenge, and awaken others. So speak, even when it's uncomfortable. Speak even when it's unpopular. Speak even when it feels like no one's listening. Because someone is listening. Someone is waiting on the exact words only you can say. Someone is trying to break through their own silence, and your voice might be their permission to try. You are not here to whisper your way through life. You're here to declare, to disrupt, to shake the system. That's why you must break the law of silence. Stop editing yourself to be acceptable. Stop shrinking your truth to be digestible. Stop apologizing for your story, your passion, your experience. Your voice is sacred, it's powerful, it's enough. And when you finally open your mouth and speak from the deepest part of who you are, you become unstoppable. People may walk away. People may misunderstand you. People may even try to silence you again. Let them. Because you didn't come here to be accepted by everyone. You came here to liberate yourself. And truth is the first key to freedom. So make yourself a lawbreaker. Speak louder. Stand firmer. Tell your truth, your way. Without permission, without apology. Right? Because when you own your voice, you own your power. And when you break the law of silence, you finally begin to live out loud. Break the law of playing small. Step fully into who you are. There is one final law that too many people follow, often without realizing it. It's the most damaging of all because it feels safe. It feels humble, but it's a silent killer of dreams and destiny. It's the law of playing small. It says, don't dream too big. Don't make others uncomfortable. Don't outgrow the people around you. Don't step into the spotlight. You might look arrogant. This law tells you to dim your light just enough to be accepted, to shrink your gifts just enough not to intimidate anyone, and to downplay your purpose so others don't feel insecure. But let me ask you this. How long will you keep shrinking to fit into places you've outgrown? You weren't created to be small. You weren't born to blend in. You are not here to play the background in the story of your own life. There is nothing humble about hiding your greatness. You have a fire, a voice, a calling, a presence. And the world doesn't need a smaller version of you. It needs the real you, the unfiltered, unapologetic, powerful you. But to become that version, you have to break the law. Break the law that says your dreams are too much. Break the belief that says you're only worthy if you're quiet and polite. Break the guilt that says stepping into your power makes you selfish. Which doesn't. It makes you responsible. Because when you rise, you give others permission to rise too. When you step fully into your purpose, you show others it's possible. When you play big, you create a new normal that inspires generations. Playing small never served anyone. Not you, not the people who love you, not the world. Stop saying maybe later. Stop saying I'm not ready. Stop saying, what if I fail? Start saying, what if I fly? What if I lead? What if I finally become who I was always meant to be? The people who changed the world didn't play small. They walked into rooms like they belonged there. Because they did. They took up space, spoke with fire and refused to apologize for their greatness. And that's exactly what you must do. So from this day forward, make yourself a lawbreaker. Break the law of playing small. Step boldly, lead fully, shine loudly. Not someday, not later, but now. Because your greatness is not just about you. It's about the people who will rise when you do. It's about the future that will be rewritten when you finally say, I refuse to hide. You've been underestimated long enough. You've been quiet long enough. You've been shrinking long enough. Now, explain, break the law and become unstoppable. By now, you understand the truth. There are invisible laws running your life. Not written in any book, but etched into your habits, fears, and beliefs. And these laws, they're not here to protect you. They're here to limit you. The law of fear, the law of playing small, the law of silence, of instant gratification, of staying comfortable and normal. But now you know better. You were never meant to follow rules that rob you of your power. You were never meant to shrink, settle, or silence your soul just to make others comfortable. You were born to disrupt, to rise, to shake the foundations of what's expected. The world has enough followers. What it needs is a rebel with a reason. The people who change the game aren't the ones who obey. They're the ones who dare to break the mold, to walk away from what's safe, to question what's always been, to speak when others stay silent, to rise when the world says, sit down. You are that person. You are the one who can no longer afford to live in fear of your own greatness. You are the one with something to say, something to build, something to become. And no, it won't be easy. You'll be misunderstood. You'll be doubted. You'll walk alone at times. But you will be free. And what's waiting on the other side of those broken laws? Freedom, power, peace, purpose. That version of you you've only dreamed about? The confident one. The fearless one. The one who walks into a room without shrinking. They're not far away. They're already inside you. Is waiting for you to stop obeying the lies and start living the truth. So this is your line in the sand. This is your turning point. No more hiding. No more waiting. No more apologizing. For from this moment forward, break the law of fear and move in faith. Break the law of silence and speak with power. Break the law of normal and dare to be different. Break the law of comfort and chase growth. Break the law of playing small and step fully into your calling. Don't live another day in chains built by people who are afraid to live. You have nothing to lose but your limits. So go, make yourself a lawbreaker and become everything they said you couldn't be. Because you weren't born to be a copy. You were born to be a force. And forces don't follow rules. They rewrite them. Your time is now. Make the leap, break the law, and become unstoppable.